hopefully no more of those noises.
All right, guys, this is the first live stream. We're just gonna wing it. Andy, what's up?
Hey, how's it going?
Not bad. You staying safe?
Staying at home.
Yeah. You going anywhere?
Yeah, I am. Well, taking my dog for walks.
No.
Many
Oh,
walks.
I mean that's normal. You don't want dog shit piling up in the house.
No, don't want that. But it's a great way to get out.
Yeah. Oh, hopefully everybody else is kind of taking it like that too. It's crazy, dude.
Mm,
Ah, um.
I
So
don't know, man.
more people's cars trying to get stolen. Um. You know Ron. Somebody broke into Ron's truck
Oh, really?
right after he talked to you. Yeah,
Dang.
they tried to steal his truck, smashed the steering column, wrecked his ignition.
Assholes, man.
Right? I know, right? It's only been 2 weeks since my
I
truck
mean,
got stolen. It's freaking
that's
crazy.
crazy.
Oh, dude, I was at the store the other day. I was getting supplies, and the cashier, he was telling me that somebody stole his roommate's car.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, dude, it's going up
Yeah,
all over the time.
I kind of wondered if there'd be a certain amount of lawlessness with, like, say before they like actually would crack down on martial law, or they're going to allow a X amount of lawlessness happen until they're like, okay, it's so bad we have to execute martial law, like as an excuse or something.
Right.
But no, I definitely feel like you can get away with a lot more these days right now.
Yeah. How do you feel about that, dude? Because, like, I'm kind of on the fence. It's at a spot where it's like it's kind of needed, but at the same time, it's like if it's gone that way, there has to be some sort of restriction put on it.
I just it shouldn't never go that way. We don't need to go down that track.
Yeah. I mean, there's got to be some time where it's needed to marshal the people, whether it's bad. I think whether the situation is bad enough or not is the actual big question.
I mean, what I have seen is parks being packed.
Mm-hmm.
Driving around trying to find places to walk Zoe. That's some of our normal locations that usually have zero people are so packed. Like last weekend, I was out and felt like I needed a mask outdoors. Before they really started enforcing that or suggesting that, anyways.
Yeah. It's just crazy. I mean, there's like, I gotta quit touching my face.
Yep,
That's a bad
change of
thing.
habit, man.
I know, right? Well, when I work all day, I've got safety glasses and a mask on anyways, so it's just when I'm at
That
home.
kind of limits you anyway.
Yeah. That's probably one of the best things about having a mask on is so you don't touch your face.
Right? Makes you think twice. Gives you that awareness.
Right. Wonder if we're gonna get any viewers. So far, nobody.
We had a couple on that first run.
It might have just been us because it says no watch time.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. Let's see here. I'm gonna try and adjust a couple things. It looks like there's a lot of latency in here right now. Need to figure out.
Yeah, our conversation needs to be like about a sentence or two. Wait a second. That way the message gets across.
It's not letting me turn down the resolution so we can get a better stream. Wonder if we can get this through. I'd like to share it too. I'm still figuring it out. So that's what the main point of this video basically is anyways.
Sure. Sure, man.
Wonder if I can go into my camera settings.
And there's only so much you can do indoors. I have vacuumed. I have Lysol wiped things down. I'm about to go do it again. It's been a few days.
Right.
It's like after a few days, everybody coming and going. It's like, let's go ahead and do that.
Clean the house, wash the car, take the dog out for a walk, do the dishes, clean the house, do the dishes, clean the house, do the dishes, clean the house, do the dishes.
Yep. Yeah, if you ever watch Matchstick Men, Nicolas Cage's character, that's a good way to put it.
I haven't seen it.
Really? Oh
Hmm.
man, it's a great movie. It illustrates like some of his OCDs, and one of it's like cleanliness. And when he gets stressed, he just cleans his house like insanely tidy.
That's funny.
Yeah, it's a good movie. It's one of my all-time favorites for sure.
I'll have to check that out. Let's see. Trying to figure out. I don't think I can change the. I don't think I can change the video quality while we're running. But I don't know. I can change the bit rate. Hmm. It's not letting me change much of much.
Do you want to log off and see if it opens those options up for you?
Yeah, we can do that. It's not like anybody watched this one anyways. If I delete it, nobody will know.
All right.
Oh, wait. No, somebody's watched. Somebody's been watching for about 5 minutes. What's up?
Yeah, leave a comment. What do you
Hey,
got?
he says, what are we talking about? Whatever you want to talk about. What do you want to know?
No activity, huh?
How's it going,
That's all right.
Harshit?
They're just trying to be entertained, huh?
Thanks for the comment, man. What do you want to know? We're basically, this is a test. We're just talking about whatever comes to mind right now. This is the first live stream I've tried. We're about to abandon it, but if you stay on, we'll keep going. How's the is everything looking all right on your side?
Yep.
Cool.
Everything's fine over here.
Nice.
I actually can see you a little bit now, so it makes it
Yeah.
a little better.
Hopefully one. Oh. Um I have no idea. It all depends on how people handle it. The more people handle it safely, the quicker it'll end. The more they kind of distance themselves, the more they take care, wash their hands, make sure and do whatever they can not to spread, just in case they are a carrier. I don't think anybody knows when it will end. There's no vaccine in sight until probably 2021. So we're looking to be. It's gonna be a culture changer. That's in my opinion. That's just my own dumb opinion, but that's everything that it looks out to be. If it stays on the path it is, it's definitely going to change our culture. People aren't going to be able to interact in the same way. What do you think, Andy?
What was the question?
He wants to know when the pandemic will end.
Oh, yeah. Man. Yeah, there's so much false information out there. Who knows what's really
Right.
going on?
Yeah.
But you're right for sure. It's going to be a culture shift, and I think everyone will be a little bit more aware of germs and how they transmit. Be a little more common knowledge amongst everyone.
Yeah. If we're stuck inside for a long
Which,
time, I mean, oh, sorry, Andy, go ahead.
I was like, that can't be a bad thing, you know.
Somebody is what in the hell? Adele AD3L. The Slayer slowly shoves the ignited relic blade into my anal cavity with nothing but concentrated precision. I let out a yelp as I hear the argent energy crackle in my anal cavity. Oh yes, Slayer. Well then.
Huh. Is that a question or?
No, I think they're just there.
Yeah, right on, right on. Well, we're just here.
Yeah, not. Is
I
there a
mean, it is
reason
going
for
to be
that?
that way. We're past 420, man. So
Yeah. I mean, Adele, is there a reason for your comments? Come on. Why don't you interact?
yeah, it'd be a lot more fun.
Yeah. Is that your fan fiction? Hey, we're from Colorado. How about you, Harshit? We're I guess Colorado, we're one of the hardest hit states too, even though it doesn't seem like it, but I'm not going out anywhere. I have to work, but it's just working home for me. We've been stocking up. We prepared a couple weeks ago, made sure we got 2 or 3 weeks worth of groceries at a time so that way we don't have to leave the house. Luckily, I'm lucky enough to work in a spot where I'm pretty isolated. I don't interact with many people. But what about you, man? Where are you from? An Indian? You from India?
Right on.
Yeah. Yeah, nice to see we're making it all the way there. If that's where you're actually commenting from, that's cool.
All right. I saw where New Delhi had their like a whole bunch of smog has just gotten blown away since they've all been in lockdown. So New Delhi has like clean air and some beautiful pictures are coming out of that area.
Dude, all over the world. So like I'm not trying to say there's silver lining, but there a lot of people have noticed a decrease in pollution, um, ozone fog going away over major cities and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean that's great. You gotta look for the silver lining.
Yeah. I guess what kind of positives have you noticed?
Um, I think allowing nature to just kind of come back a little bit.
Yeah.
We beat it back so much with here in Colorado, we have trail systems like veins that just invade the forest so deep, and with everyone trying to stay at home and just going to the local parks, I think Boulder has had sightings of bears, and I think maybe bobcats starting to come out a little bit
That doesn't
more.
surprise me.
So I think that's a good thing. Let the environment recover just a bit from
Yeah, it
all of
might.
our trace and footprints.
It should. Just the amount of people not driving right now is probably good for the environment. The amount of people not out and about throwing their trash all over the trails is good. I can see how
Right.
the wildlife would come back out if there's not as many people on the trails.
I mean, I guess a
But
downside to that could be when we do return back to the trails, it's having to restake our territory a little bit more. So, you know,
nice.
we can talk about that round in circles.
Yeah.
What else you got?
Oh, let's see. Harshit says, actually, boredom caught me here, and I am enjoying right now. I think a lot of people are. Adele's
Yeah,
from
boredom.
Germany.
Hell,
Hi.
man.
Nice to see you. Nice to hear that you're from Germany and checking us out. Didn't think
Right
we'd actually
on.
reach that far. That's pretty awesome.
Heck yeah, I've been to Germany too, man.
Have you?
Munich.
Oh, you have. That's right.
Yeah. Munich, 07.
I wonder how it's going over there. I haven't been keeping up with the numbers. I've been trying to kind of distance myself away from staying on top of all that and staying away from the CDC sites.
Yeah,
It's,
man. At some point, you just gotta learn to leave the numbers up to the doctors
yeah,
and just take care of yourself. Like, we know there's something going on, so let's just take care of ourselves and
right.
kind of no need to get in all riled up over seeing numbers increase or decrease like the stock market.
Right. I don't, I don't even have a clue about the stock market. It's for rich people. Hmm. So, how about the snow we're having?
Oh, it's crazy. Crazy snow, man. Like, I was out last night at like 10 o'clock still in flip-flops,
Yeah.
and to wake up to, what, like 5 inches? Is that what we got?
Yeah, we've got a few inches of snow already on the ground. Let's see.
Yeah.
Am I saying it right? Is it Harshit? He or she says every nation worked on itself to be a nuclear recognized state, but no one thought that all those investments seemed to go in vain. What do you think? Yeah, that is a good point. But at this point, it kind of like I don't even see how any of these nations can think about war. It's just crazy that it's still going on. At this point, they're so pointless. Like, bring them home. Our troops have more in common than their troops than they do with the people that's sending them to war.
Right. Yeah. And,
And they literally, the Afghan papers came out after 18 years of that war, and they literally found out that there's no reason that we're there and there's no end game in sight.
it's profit over public good.
Mm-hmm.
It's being shown through the virus. It's being, transparent.
I'm a firm believer in that we should just disassemble all nuclear weapons. Like, I know that nobody will, and they'll always be there for at least as long as there's any sort of threat. But that's just what I believe. I don't think we should have nuclear capabilities. Any nation. That's just wrong. That's just wrong to bomb somebody. That's to destroy a whole city's worth of people that didn't have anything to do with why they were bombed.
Yeah, totally can agree with that. And I think, for the most part, I think the bigger countries understand that, and it's just a political bomb. It's not like anyone's ever going to use a nuclear bomb again,
Right.
unless someone goes off the hinge, like a small country goes off the hinge that we didn't know or wasn't really in alliance with. But yeah, we all kind of know that it's not a good thing to be letting off nukes left and right.
Right. Well, at least nobody is.
No, exactly.
But the fact that they can is just still crazy because there's no point. Once you destroy so many innocent lives, like, what's the point of keep going? As soon as you do it, you're done. As soon as you do it, history's not going to see you fairly. It's not going to treat you fairly. You're not going to be remembered as a good person if you just go ahead and bomb somebody like that.
Yeah.
You're right. Good power.
Good.
Or power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. That's right. And I don't think there's any bigger threat than the absolute power of having the capabilities to push that button. That could go to somebody's head. That could go to somebody's head, and it's like that doesn't even need to be there.
Yeah, I guess in one sense, you're talking about disassembling them, and
Yeah.
it's good to take them off of, the rockets that can send them somewhere and that can make the uranium explode and whatnot. But we still have that radioactive material, and it still has to be dealt with.
Right.
So it's almost like, since there's no game plan to how to deal with radioactive waste in any sort of real manner, just leave them be.
Yeah, I mean,
Hopefully nobody hits the button,
yeah, it's a tough one. It's definitely, I can admit I don't have the mind to contemplate that. That goes deep, because if you go into there, you can go into nuclear power facilities and what they do with the waste. I mean, they just stick it in salt and bury it and hope that it doesn't leak.
And hope. Yeah, that's not a very good game plan for such a hazardous waste material.
Well, that's the game plan, though. They just bury it.
Let's put it in the trash can and hope it doesn't do any problems.
They dig a big ass hole, and from what I understand, it's salt. I could be wrong. I'm usually wrong. Can you hear my kids yelling upstairs?
Nope. I heard my dog wanting in at the door.
Somehow I can hear him over the headphones.
Yeah. She needed in. All right.
Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah, that's got to be, with you having a dog and going out and about, that's got to be a little sketchier than, like, me going to work every day. How do you handle that? Because, like, all I got to do is just make sure I stay safe on the drive there and the drive home. For the most part at work, I'm in a pretty sterile environment.
Well, as far as walking the dog, um, I have no need to touch anything that's public. Just avoid touching any of the benches or handrails or anything like that.
Right.
So I'm to myself in that manner. Um, and currently, with everyone kind of staying at home, I just don't think it's out there floating in the air, contaminating people. But sure, if you're walking behind someone and they sneeze, and
Oh
then
God.
it could be a problem. But I just distance myself so much from people, even when I'm walking around with the dog, that I'm not too concerned. It's the stress level of going to the grocery stores
Yeah,
right now.
dude.
That's the one that's getting me.
I went a couple weeks ago, and it was pretty nuts. I went to the grocery store, and I went to Sam's Club, and I went to the liquor store, and that was everything that we were gonna do. Stock up for about 3 weeks worth of stuff. I was coming out of Sam's Club. I was glad I was leaving because I was pretty far away from the door, and I could hear a guy coughing his ass off when he went in. I guess I reacted and whipped my head around. It was just allergies, man. Well, I'm leaving, so I hope so. For for
Right?
everybody's sake that's in there. For me, I
And
was
even
fine with it.
allergies, come on, like put a mask on.
Um, no, I haven't listened to any Bollywood music. If you want to send a link, I'm down to. Just something that I haven't really got into. Um, we're not really just talking about global problems. We're just kind of just talking about anything and everything to see how people are handling this for the most part. It's kind of an anything goes conversation. This is just what's going on right now, so it's what we're talking about.
A boredom killer.
Yeah.
That's what this is. This is a boredom killer on an Easter Sunday.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, happy Easter, everybody. Yeah, I've got this equipment. I've got this friend, and why why not put the two and
Worth
two
it all.
together? Why not? Like you said, it is a good boredom
Where to
killer.
go?
It's a great boredom killer.
Yeah.
This is what I've been wanting to
Pretty.
do for the past couple weeks now. I'm glad that we finally got it set up.
Yeah. Well, hopefully, if we can get some more people interacting, I like this.
Yeah,
I like hearing from other cultures and
me too.
especially some places I've been. I don't know. This kind of touches.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Knowing you've been at some places and they're like responding to this.
Hopefully the video quality's not that bad. I know a lot of people have trouble streaming during this time, but we're gonna keep going. Why not?
Be nice if I could see the comments as well.
If you go to YouTube and watch the stream but mute it so it doesn't echo, you should be able to see the comments.
Yeah. Yeah, I wish I had my LG. I could do two screens at once. You know?
Oh yeah, I'm not even using my phone at the moment. It sucks. You have
Yeah.
to have. I want to stream on my phone because the video quality will be better, and I feel like the actual um, the latency would be better too, since it's not wouldn't be going through three programs. But I have to get 1,000 subscribers, and I have to get I can't remember if it's 1,000 hours of watch time or 4,000 hours of watch time in order to live stream just off of YouTube without a buffer, basically, or without a third party program to stream with. Have you been to India, Andy? I think we lost you. I've never been to India, but I actually had a pen pal from there for a while, and I think it's beautiful. Um, I don't know a whole lot about the culture. I hope everything's going well there. I've heard a few things about the COVID pandemic, but all in all, I don't think I have much of an opinion. Definitely not bad. Hmm. We definitely lost Andy too. It's a little hard to. Oh, there's Andy. How's it going, man?
And
Back up.
Andrew,
Did you accidentally log out when you went to switch apps?
it must have.
Hey.
I was watching it through the YouTube, and then it went black on me. So
Oh, I got you. So
anyway, I couldn't find a way to mute it. So
have you
I don't know.
been?
If there's any interesting questions, just go ahead and read them aloud, and I can maybe think on them too.
Yeah, that's fine. I can go ahead and read comments. Have you been to India?
Yes.
Okay. What do you think of India? That's what Harshit wants to know.
Oh, crowded. It was very crowded, and at the time I was also living in the LA area, so going from that's pretty crowded for us in the U.S. to India, but all the palaces were amazingly beautiful. So much detail work in that. I think we landed in New Delhi, ended up going to the Taj Mahal, and then a few towns, probably a few hours south of there. Had a lot of fun seeing the countryside. I was kind of saddened by all the I guess trash that's just been accumulated over the years on the side of the road that's kind of built up in the ditch.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, that could happen anywhere.
yeah. The driving was pretty insane.
Yeah.
I mean, their roads can have potholes that would wreck a vehicle, so you have to dodge it, and it's literally the biggest truck gets the right of way sometimes. At least that's how I felt.
And honestly, it's like that
Yeah.
a lot of places here too, though. If you've ever been to St. Louis, and I'm not trying to talk bad about St. Louis, but if alongside, I think it's Riverside Drive, and one of the main roads that takes you north and south on the side of the Mississippi River in St. Louis. There's just trash all over the side of the roads, blown in the fences, stuck in the grass. It's
Gotcha.
That's what I like about here in Colorado. It seems a lot cleaner around here. People seem to take a little bit more care and think before they throw something out the window. Oh,
Right.
They say that's very true what you said.
Okay. I can't say I did love the shops. It was kind of fun. I like the barter and trade system, and everybody wants to kind of haggle with you.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun. We went to, I think, a couple of rock shops, precious gems or stones, and then someplace we had to buy a couple dresses because it was for a wedding. So I was photographing a traditional wedding.
No, I don't really follow sports at all. And I'm just assuming you're talking about what we call soccer here, football. Football is I don't know why it's so different, why Americans call football soccer, because we have American football, which to me looks more like rugby, but I don't follow sports really. Just one of those things that doesn't interest me very much.
No, not really. Not when they're getting paid so much to play a game.
Yeah.
It just kind of gets on my sour side there.
I do try to follow current events and try to follow the political atmosphere here in America. There's a lot of crazy stuff going on there with the presidential election primaries. But I try to follow current events too. It's hard. It's hard nowadays. There's just so much going on in the world.
That's true. Got to focus on one thing or another to kind of really put all your attention on it.
Yeah, there's so much going on. It's hard to keep track. Let's see. What's another good subject you'd like to hear about? What would you like to know about what's going on over here on this side of the world?
Which side? Who are you talking to?
Our side. I'm talking to Harshit. I hope I'm saying that right. I'm probably butchering the pronunciation. But over here, it's getting kind of wild. All these states are going on lockdown, but it's not really on lockdown at the same time. People still go out and do what they want. That's that's probably the only reason why I'm like half-assed for marshaling on the American people, because half the people here are so stupid. You tell them to do something, tell them that this is what's going to keep them safe, and everybody's got their own opinion, and that's smarter than the experts. I don't know how many times I've heard. Yeah, it's just, it's almost something you don't even want to get into because everybody's so strong about their own opinions without researching things that they just get mad whenever you throw legit facts at them.
That's what I think is hard about kind of saying anything too strongly worded with this coronavirus, because there's just so much misinformation out there, and honestly, I mean, I don't think the numbers really reflect. They may reflect a percentage. They may reflect a general idea.
Oh yeah.
But you don't know.
Let's see. He says, "Why do the businessmen have always control over the politics from the very beginning?" If I'm not wrong, no, you're right. It's got to do with a lot of it's been something that's been happening slowly over time. We used to have a lot of laws and a lot of protections that would keep big money out of politics. It's slowly over time. What's been happening here is they could get these people in our government to basically take bribes and make bribery legal. There's been laws written. One of the most notable one is Citizens United, which gave corporations the same kind of power as individuals and gave money the same type of power as free speech. So, and it goes way deeper than that. I'm obviously butchering it, but that's basically a way to kind of put it all together in a little package. They just made bribery legal over time. They've rolled back protections, publicly funded elections, until the point where now the way our electoral system works is you've got these companies that will bundle money together and they'll gather millions of dollars. And if you notice what's going on now, a lot of our politicians aren't even publicly funded. They get money from what's called PACs, which are political action committees. And it's basically when you start getting into money like that, these politicians have become dependent on it. And what they're doing is they're just ignoring everyday people because they get all of their money from these donations, from these big fundraisers. They're able to take fundraising from large companies, fundraising from these political action committees, these groups that bundle money together. And that's who our politicians end up ultimately listening to, whoever gives them the most money. So the more it gets embedded into our system, the worse it gets. I know there's a lot of movement right now to get money out of politics. Hopefully it works. I'm tired of it. It just seems like normal everyday people like us, we always get screwed out of every deal. You all right there, buddy?
Yep. It's not the corona.
Good.
Yes.
Dude, my brother's sick.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, my brother's sick. I just got off the phone with him not too long ago, right before we got on here. I hope he's not sick with COVID-19, but he's got headaches. He's got body aches. I just hope everything's all right.
Well, yeah, me too. I mean, I guess you never know about that stuff, huh?
Views on the Gun Licensing Act? I'm not sure. I don't know enough about it. I know common sense is needed. But aside from that, that's one subject that I haven't followed a lot. I don't own a gun. Not saying that I wouldn't like to own a gun. I'm not anti-gun by any means. I do think that Americans should be able to, um, just as part of our Second Amendment rights, we should have the right to own a gun. But I think there should be an area that, um, you need to be able to pass a mental health. Well, what else am I looking for? Yeah, no, don't have violent crimes. Don't, if in order to own a gun, you shouldn't have been to jail for beating your wife and your kids or repeat violent offenses. There's all sorts of things that they can do, but that's something that just needs to be talked about rather than just are they for it or against it, which is what we're getting here. And it seems like if you're against it, then they say you're against America, you're against the Second Amendment, all that. And if you're for it, then then you're just a crazy gun-toting whatever the hell. And there's no room for Gary. Our society in America is extremely polarized, and there's not much room for actual conversations. And
I think a big problem with that is the lack and misinformation again, and what people need is education.
Yeah.
Like we need education about guns and not just a hunter safety course that's taught over an hour or two about how to use a weapon, but some real education about these weapons and how they can be used and how can they be used in the right ways.
Yeah, exactly. The common sense, basically.
You start off there and then worry about who's allowed to get them.
Our problem is that our society is so polarized. It's like you get the people that are for it and they are solidly for it and there's no moving. You can't discuss anything. You get the people that are against it and they're 100% against it. You can't discuss anything with them. They're not budging and nobody's willing to listen to each other here.
Right.
China's political diplomacy on the outbreak. Let's see. I'm going to read this fully. Does China's political diplomacy on the outbreak bother you? And how does the other nation, or how the other nation should react to this? I think all of the nations are doing it a little bit differently. It seems like there's no universal system set up to track it. I just heard today, and don't take it as a quote, but from what they said is they're not counting nursing home deaths for COVID-19 deaths in America also. I'd like to get a little bit more information on that too, but the way they're testing and the way they're reaching out, it doesn't help much. But I think, was it South Korea? South Korea just automatically started testing every citizen. I think that's what needs to be done. Yeah, it's hard to say what bothers me on that, just because it's so hard to tell who's doing what and how they're taking care of things. The only thing I could say is that I just hope that they devise a way to just get everybody tested, and when a vaccine comes out, get everybody vaccinated for it. Make sure that it's all there free of charge. We're in the U.S., we're one of the only countries that doesn't have our health care paid for to the people. So if we get sick and go to the hospital, our government just said, well, the testing will be free if you're sick, but there's people that have been trying to get tested for weeks and they're dying before they even get tested here because they just can't get a hold of them. There's so many stipulations that you have to run through. You have to contact somebody, being in contact from somebody outside the country, and that person had to have a positive test. And there's just all sorts of hurdles to jump over. But then on top of that, they're taking care of the testing. But if you get sick from it and you don't have your private health insurance in America, it costs like $30,000 to get treated. So I guess there's a lot. The China covering things up or China being vague about it does bother me, but I've focused a lot more into, I'm really bothered on how we're taking care of the situation here. There's no step up of leadership from the federal government. They just put it all in the states and tell the states to handle it individually. What do you think, Andy?
Yeah, I think the misrepresentation applies to us too. On, first of all, admitting that it was going on, and then taking action.
Okay.
Those steps could have been took ahead of time.
Thanks for clarifying. He says not about China hiding the real stats, but delivering faulty equipment to other nations. That I haven't heard about, but I would like
Oh,
to look into that more. Have you heard about that?
no, not at all.
I mean, that wouldn't surprise me. A lot of the stuff that I've ordered been hit or miss. Depends, but I mean, a lot of the stuff that I've ordered online from China that's supposed to be higher end, I've usually been pretty happy with. I guess it just depends on the companies themselves and what their reputation is. Like, is this equipment coming from third parties that don't have any sort of registration or don't have any way to trace faulty equipment back to them? So if they are, if they're just mass producing faulty equipment, then that's not good. I could tell you right now
Medical
about that.
equipment, is that what we're talking about?
He says that China is delivering faulty equipment to other nations. Like,
Medical equipment?
yeah, like if that's the case, then it should be traced. Hopefully, if it's delivered, then as long as there's a source where it can come from, that they can be investigated and the appropriate action taken. But I don't think I know enough about that yet to know. I would like to actually.
Yeah.
I will look
Yeah,
into
I
that
wouldn't know
more.
about that.
But that's definitely, and if that is going on, that's definitely something that wouldn't be put on the news here, at least not very easily. That's a story that'll be buried before it hits. Okay, he says China delivered faulty equipment to France due to the quality. France government returned it back. Oh wow, yeah, that's like that's hopefully they
Wow.
were able to recover whatever resources they spent on that. You know, whether it's through trade or through actually monetary funds. France has been hit real hard. I know a lot of Europe has been hit real hard. How are things in India? I heard it's just starting to get hit. I know a lot of people to rely on China's judgment, though. It's just a authoritarian state. Mm, I don't know. The government controls everything there. It controls the news. It controls how everything runs. Controls the businesses. It's a communist country, so it's hard to say what the real situation is there at any time. I know Europe is finally, from what I've heard in the past couple of days, though, Europe is finally slowing the curve. So that's a positive.
Colorado's curve looks like it's about to drop.
What's that?
Colorado's curve looks like it's almost peaked.
I hope so. You wouldn't think it by how many people go out every day. Like when I go to work, the streets are freaking packed. Like people are out everywhere. All the
Right?
stores are closed. Like where the hell are they going?
From what I've experienced, they're going out to the parks. One day when I went out, I drove an hour out to Pawnee to finally find a place where there was nobody around.
Man,
And then, what was it, 2 days ago, it drove about 45 minutes into the mountains until I finally found a place up next to Bernard Lake that there was like no one in the parking lot. Officially no one there. And I was like, okay, I can hang out here for a minute.
wow. That's good, Harsha. If that's how India's taking care of it with the people first, I would love it if they did that here. He says, for now, it's really not about the economy. Lives of people come first. India is struggling, but not that bad till now. We have tried to flatten the curve. India is under lockdown for 21 days and is going to extend, hopefully. Yeah, you're right. It's the people that do come first. Right now in America, they're pumping trillions of dollars into our banks, and they sent out. Well, they haven't even sent it out yet. It's been a good couple weeks since the president signed the bill for these stimulus checks, but I still haven't seen it.
No, it's supposed to be this week. The original date was posted to be out by the 17th, and something got passed, I think Friday, to try to expedite that to get it out early this week,
Yeah, I mean, they
at
need to
least
do
to the direct
something
deposit people.
the
So if
first
you've
two
either got
weeks.
Social Security or you get taxes returned to your bank, that should be in there within the next few days.
Yeah, I mean, within the first 2 weeks,
That's
and this
what the
$1,200
IRS is
check isn't going to
promising.
cover this $1,200 check isn't going to cover shit either. The first 2 weeks, 10
No,
million
it's a
people.
fake bailout. It's just a way we can keep paying
Hmm.
our bills so the bigger companies can stay alive.
Yeah,
It
ten,
doesn't like help us any. Just keep rent happy,
yep, 10 million,
Keep them
10 million
keep the
people.
banks happy.
10 million people have filed for unemployment within 2 weeks.
Yeah, and $1,200 is nothing these days.
No,
That's
that
1 month's rent. That's
that's not even 1 month
you
rent for
know
me. That's not even
that's
1 month's health
yeah
insurance for me.
yeah that's not even health insurance. That's food probably
If
for
I
your
lost my,
family. That's probably
yeah,
food for your family
if I lost my
for a
job
month
and wanted to
maybe.
continue paying my private health insurance, I would have to pay over $1,300 just to keep my insurance. And then not even counting my rent.
Yeah, so that's just a fake bailout.
Actually, it would be more than
Exactly
that.
that's where your money's going to go because you're going to pay your insurance with it.
Yeah, actually, it would be more than that because if I lost my job, then my employer wouldn't be able to cover the 16% that they cover. So I would have to pay probably around $1,500 if I wanted to keep insurance, at least for a month. And right now, there's not really any medical help. Like I said, they're waiving fees for the tests, but we'll see what happens in the long run. I have no faith in what they're doing for us. They're not helping people at all here. They're helping corporations, and then it's just sickening. It's just all these companies that should be not. I'm not saying they should be going under. I don't believe that, but they've had a lot of time, especially since the last bailouts too. They've had enough time to put things back to how it used to be, give employees pensions, make sure that there's a safety net in case things like this do happen. And all these companies, especially these huge American companies, have just gutted all that. So that way, when something like this happens, there's nothing to fall back on them if they just say, okay, well, we're just going to say, let's drop all of our employees, and who cares?
Well, have you been up on the McDonald's strikes? There's been a McDonald's strike in L.A. They're wanting to raise the bar to $15 an hour, and
Good.
McDonald's isn't providing personal protective gear for them either. So a lot of cities are locked down the McDonald's by the employees showing up, parking in the drive-throughs, putting signs on their cars that they're on strike.
Good. They
And
should.
hey, man, like everyone, like what is it? Like 60% of America lives paycheck to paycheck, and below $50,000 a year. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
we
it's like
can't afford
60%
to
that's paycheck to paycheck.
not go to work.
70% of Americans have less than $500 in savings. Like these are people that are hit the hardest, and
Yeah.
I don't know what they're doing about it. I really don't. It's so vague. The vote that happened in Senate and Congress, it was an unrecorded vote. They all voted for the bailout, which in turn helped the companies and did as little as possible for us. But the fact that it's an unrecorded vote, you can't go back and see what senators or what Congress people voted yes or no, if they even voted no, which none of the senators voted no, which they should have. I mean, honestly, if it would have taken longer, they still should have voted no, because what this was, I mean, trillions of dollars went to these massive corporations, and just a small fraction of it went to actual people. So I want to know what they're doing with it. It says India delivered large quantities of, it's so hard to pronounce, hydroxychloroquine to more than 23 nations, including USA. But to be honest, we are still the privileged ones. Think about the daily wage workers and how they would survive. Exactly.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think the mass gathering and it's McDonald's. If those guys are doing it and they get all the fast food people behind them to strike,
Mm-hmm.
I'm all about trying to support
I'm also all
some sort
about,
of people's movement to stand up and say, hey, this is pitiful working conditions,
yeah.
really,
Well, here's something that
living conditions, because we spend all of our money on rent and food that's totally out of price,
Here's something that
totally
really
overpriced.
kind of makes me mad. So if they're going to pay to bail out these companies with public money, one of the stipulations was that part public ownership of these private companies, as in, for as long as they take taxpayer money to be bailed out, then the taxpayers or the public, the government, is part owner of those companies until it's paid back. And that the stipulations, the stipulations of the bill should be followed before that control gets returned. Also, like there's certain things that need to happen, or there would be consequences, and I'm all for that too. But you got companies like Boeing who made those 737 Max planes that can't even freaking fly. They just straight up said, "Well, if we're gonna have to answer to the people, or if we're gonna have any sort of public members on our board, or if the government's gonna have any control of our government, then we're not gonna take the money. We don't need it." Like, why are they being bailed out if they don't need the money? Why? That's what I want to know. If the company says that they don't need the money, that if these kind of stipulations are put on there and that they're not going to take the money, then why did our government just turn around and just give it to them? And they just fought it. And it wasn't like it was a hard fight for them to win. Yeah, he's right. He says, yeah, it's high time to think about the privatization rate in every sector. And it is. Then that's the sad thing is the way of business here is starting to spread into other countries. I know there's Great Britain was talking about privatizing their healthcare system, and I don't know if that's been abandoned yet. I hope it has, because our private insurance sectors were part of that earworm in trying to get them to privatize their national health system. America has been using the coronavirus as trying to propagandize universal health systems, but it's not the system that failed at all. It's in the rest of the world. Our system has failed. If you look at the cases now, New York City is the epicenter. There's the most cases there than anywhere else.
Yeah, I think we've already topped Italy, and we've already passed China, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, well, a long time ago.
In numbers of cases, maybe not deaths, but in numbers of cases.
He says, "What are you in a profession?" I'm basically, I guess you would just call me a laborer. I mean, I don't claim to be an intelligent guy. I'm not college educated. I'm just an average guy that tries to keep track of things the best I can. I always try to just, whenever I look things up, I always try to follow sources and make sure that the facts line up. But no, I'm definitely, so Harshit's a law student in a national university in India, which is that a public university? Is that paid for too? I know they're trying to even quash the idea of that here, which would be nice if we could have some sort of public funding of universities. I know a lot of places in the world that's not as popular as universal health care, but there are a lot of places that pay for public colleges, and there's still private colleges all over the world. But I think right now what they're trying to do is just they need to get people into these, even if it's just a tech school. I mean, how is that gonna hurt the economy, having trained people that could do the tasks that are needed?
We need more of that than we do business majors and art majors and the dilution of the degree, which we've done.
Yeah, I don't even care about that. Like, people can major in whatever they want. But what I'm saying is we need people that are skilled. You know, they're not going to be the people going out working construction. They're not going to be the people out building cars, repairing vehicles, doing road work. But we still need those people to go to technical schools to learn how to do their jobs right and do it safe. And the better we can have those people, the more professional we can have our workforce, the safer they will be, the less accidents they'll have, the better it is for everybody. And you got a lot of uneducated people working technical jobs that can hurt people, then it's not going to be good overall. And he says, yeah, it is a public university.
Yeah, well, I was thinking so.
That would be nice. If we had that here, I would take advantage of it. I really would. I would love to further my education. I went and got a certificate in auto body 7 years ago, and ended up not even be able to work for it, and I've still owe $3,000 in my student loans. And I actually, whenever I left those classes, I was the top of my class. And basically, it's been do whatever I can. I'll start. I've worked for a couple different places. I worked in the tire industry for a while, which is actually a good job. But like I was saying, we need technical schools and trade schools for other people to get trained. I worked with a lot of people. There's a lot of dangerous aspects to that job, and it would have been a huge help to have people at least have a few weeks of technical training for it. There's people that don't even understand how these tires work, and I'm not talking about regular car tires. Semi trucks, large trucks, mining equipment, stuff like that is the stuff I worked on. And these are things that if you install them wrong, it will kill you. Not can, but will. And the fact, and this kind of goes into what I was saying earlier, is we need people that are trained in those. And I'd gladly pay a little bit more in taxes to make sure that the people around me are not intelligent enough, but um, educated enough to stay safe and keep other people safe. One of the biggest dangers of that job was, did I know if the person before me did it right? And I had to take care of every job as if the person before me didn't handle it right. Public tuition or public funding of colleges would be really nice, or at least public colleges. Like I said, I'm not against the private ones. Rich people, they're not going to take advantage of the public colleges anyways. They're going to go to the Ivy League schools. They don't care about the colleges that the average population is going to. I don't know. What do you think, Andy?
Oh, the cost of tuition, I think, is the big problem, and
It is.
it's just been a snowball effect that it got to the point that, hey, we developed this program of student loans. You don't have to have money to go to school now. You can just go to school and get loans, and it's just snowballed into, well, if the government's giving all these kids all this money to go to school, we can kind of jack up our prices and tuition and books and housing a little bit here and there, and it's 20, 30 years maybe into that, and we have some of the most ridiculous prices in the world to go to a university or a state college.
I think you actually hit the one on the mark. Yeah. You're right. It's something that once the government started taking over those student loans,
Oh,
I haven't looked into Marx much. I haven't read much Marx. Something that I just that's just
me
somebody
neither.
that I haven't gone into as a subject, at least not yet. I try to stay current.
I like philosophy.
Yeah. Have you read much about Marx, Andy? Because you could probably go for more
No,
than I
I
have.
didn't get into Marx much. A little bit of Aristotle, Plato. I really like Ayn Rand and her objectivism.
Yeah.
That's that one really hits a spot for me. It's fun.
Now, Marx is, am I correct in that Marxism was kind of the start of the socialist movement a long time ago?
I believe that's correct. Yes.
Okay. Now, there's a lot. I don't want to say I'm totally socialist, but I think that we need a blend of what's going on here. We need social programs. We can't rely 100% on a capitalist as well. This is just my opinion, but I really don't think that we can rely 100% on capitalism. It's just, if you think about it, it doesn't really make sense. A capitalist society is, you rely on the capital of it. Well, if everything's about profit, what is going to happen when you run out of shit? Or what's going to happen when you run out of resources, you run out of people to do the jobs? You need a group of people together to kind of come in and discuss what's right and wrong. People from every sector, people from every class, and that way everybody, you need a voice from each area of society. That's just how I see it, at least.
Well, and some of the idea of capitalism is, you get a directly benefit from your own skill,
Yeah.
which is, something you don't exactly get to do in many parts of the world. Is, you can take off, and I mean, look at Facebook and Mark Zuckerberg. he just designed a little web page, and he's like, hey, let's create this, and it's this giant enterprise now.
I don't even
Um,
think, from what
I
I
think
heard,
that
he wasn't
that's
even
what
the original
becomes the
creator.
problem is once it gets so big, they lose the soul and the connection to the human being, and it is all about profit.
From what I heard,
you
though, is
know.
that there was a group
And
of them that worked
instead
on
of
it.
like earning your money and being like, I earned this honestly, and it means something to me, instead of just I have more, dollar signs in the bank
Hmm.
account.
Well, that's the kind of mindset of a lot of people, though, is your value is based on the amount of dollars you have in your bank account.
Right.
And a
And
lot of people,
if you earned it immorally, I don't think that's maybe the best code to go by. But
well, defined morally, though, America
good
is
to
supposed
say.
to be a
Exactly.
meritocracy. They talk about pull yourself up by your bootstraps. You don't deserve it unless you earned it. That's how the American dream kind of goes. You work hard and then you get nice things. Well, what about these 70% of Americans that work their asses off? They work 2 or 3 jobs. They're some of the hardest workers I've ever met in their life, or met in my life. I'm 35 years
Mhm.
old, and like some of the hardest workers I've ever met were just day laborers, fast food workers, any sort of stuff like that. The people who are the quote unquote essential workers now, and then the ones that are supposed to be better off, they're the ones that were born into money. They're the ones that were able to go to that Ivy League school, but yet they're treated as if they're more important than the people doing their dishes, cleaning their laundry. A lot of stuff going on right now. The people doing dishes and cleaning laundry are gone, and then the people that are the class that has these servants, they don't know what to do. They don't know handle. They just want everything to get back to normal so they can get back to people making their food and making their beds. That's all they care about. Oh, and he says Marx said that when the oppression limit will be crossed by the oppressor, then comes the phase of revolution. Revolution comes and the change in power is seen. Yeah, I could. I mean, I can understand that. Revolution and
Mhm.
change, major change has to come from the bottom up because it's incrementalism here. And they just, the past 30, 35 years of my life, it's been the same thing. And they've been telling us the same thing. Well, we can do that, but we have to do it this first and this way first and this way first. And by the time it comes around, everything else has been wiped out because 4 years you have another president that's the exact opposite in ideology. And they just wipe out what was done before. We stay in a constant state of the 80s.
Yeah, you're so right on that.
I mean, seriously, what has changed? What has changed here from the '80s, except for the number of people and the way that our information is distributed? Nothing much. The culture is basically the same. It's still a fake meritocracy. It's still, on the outside is, I don't even. It's just crazy.
Computers to the wild,
It's
banking to
designed, yeah.
know way too much about us,
It's like
I
it's
think.
designed to keep you down. It's designed to keep you constantly struggling because if you're constantly struggling, you can't rise up. If you can't afford your next
Yeah.
doctor's bill, if your insurance is tied to your work, you can't. You're too worried about what's going to happen if you lose your job to take the day off and strike, or you're too worried about getting sick to take the day off and get things done that needs to be done as a society. Everybody's just so busy. You're working 2 or 3 jobs in America. You can't get anything done. You can't go and if you try to step up and you try to say something, everybody else around you, like if you make waves, they do not like that. And it's weird because when you try to make waves, you're doing it for the people around you, but everybody's just in such a mindset like they don't want to get in trouble if you get in trouble because if you get in trouble, they get in trouble. You lose your health insurance, then it's found out that they were some way just friends with you, then who you work for usually tries to get rid of them too. It's just a big save your own ass society. It's rugged individualism. They want you to believe that everybody out there is out to hurt you. If you try to help anybody that's doing something right, whether it's morally right, if it's morally right, it's probably against the rules. And if you try to do what's morally right, you're going to get in trouble, and whoever helps you is going down with you. And then if they go down with you, they don't have enough money in the bank to tie them over till they get a new job. They don't have the insurance to keep them healthy until they get a new job. And people are just constantly stressed. If they lose their job, they lose their livelihood. And nobody wants to rise up because of that. They know that the situation is shit, but they have to make a decision and they weigh the pros and cons. And in the end, it just doesn't seem worth it to them. And he says, "Oh, but
All right, man. I'm gonna have to take this time here and probably get off.
okay. Hey, that's all right. We've been on for about an hour. He's got one last comment. Says, but the problem
All
is,
right.
even after the transition, there would be a new oppressor and creates a vicious cycle. 100% correct.
Yeah,
Creates a vicious
study
cycle.
history.
Yeah. I mean, the
History repeats
establishment.
itself. Study it.
The establishment is the establishment because it was established. Somebody overthrew the former one. He says, so
For
the
sure.
answer to every problem is to end the human selfishness and the cycle will sink to zero, which is utopian. You're right. You're right. You're 100% right. End the selfishness. You know, people, they constantly think, you know, oh, well, if so-and-so wasn't doing this, then I could do this. Or if I had this, I could just do this. And they're constantly trying to reach for more and more. If I had this, I can get here. When actually all it takes is maybe take a step back.
Yeah. So yeah, one last thing I wanted to put into that on that line is to read Twilight of American Culture.
Will do.
It's a very good book. It explains our consumerism-driven economy from the start.
Harsha, if you leave your Instagram handle on here, I'll make sure and give you a follow. He asked for an Instagram handle. So, yeah, definitely we're going to go ahead and get off here. Leave your Instagram handle in the comments, and I'll go ahead and give you a follow and send you an instant message, let you know that that's me. And I appreciate you staying with us and having this chat with us. This is really cool. We'll definitely do it again. Awesome. All right, Andy. Well, thanks for coming. Have a good night, everybody.